Honorable Barde.
Federal Constituency. I'm from Kaduna State. Mr. Speaker, I have a matter I consider is of urgent national importance. And this has to do with the adoption of nearly 140 pupils of Bethel Baptist High School in Chikun local government. Mr. Speaker, with your leave and the leave of the House, I want this matter to be considered urgent, and with your leave and the leave of the House, so that the matter will suspend or the age will fall, so that the matter can be taken immediately because of the importance of what has happened. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
I remain Honorable Ndodi Godwin Delmelo, and I represent the good people of Hon Yakubu Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion moved by Honorable Barde. I so second.
Constituency of Kaduna State. The House note that on the 5th of July, 2021, armed bandits attacked Bethel Baptist High School, Damishi, Chikun local government area, and adopted over 140 pupils from their hostels, out of which 28 escaped from their adopters and returned to their parents, while 2 military personnel lost their lives. Also note that on the 4th of July 2021, armed bandits attacked the National Tuberculosis and Leprosy Centers area, Kaduna State, where they kidnapped 10 people, including children, a nursing mother, nurses, and a security guard. Further note that on the 3rd of July 2021, armed bandits attacked Iri Station and adopted 16 residents. The gang of bandits killed 2 of the kidnapped victims and took away the rest. Recall that on the 19th of June 2021, about 16 people were kidnapped from their homes in Angwamba Daki Kaka Ward, Chikun local government area. 9 of those adopted were killed because the abductors were trying to press home the demand for ransom. Also recall that on the 20th of April 2021, armed bandits attacked Greenfield University campus in Kasarami in Chikun local government area. In the attack, the bandits kidnapped 22 students and a matron. 5 of the adopted students were brutally murdered by the bandits to press home their seriousness for ransom, while other 17 students and the matron were only released upon payment of ransom. Further recall that on 22nd of April 2021, armed bandits attacked and adopted 2 nurses who were on night shift in Idon General Hospital in Kajuru local government area. The nurses are still in the hands of their adopters. Concerned that there are quite a lot of numerous unreported cases of banditry attack in various communities where they adopt innocent citizens for ransom. Further concerned that this incessant kidnapping and killing has negative impact on food security, agriculture, and employment. Aware that the Kaduna State government has shut down 13 schools in Kaduna State as a proactive measure to prevent further incidences. Further aware that there are thousands of people displaced from their communities due to frequent attack and who are taking refuge in different unofficial IDP camps in my constituency, and the state government has provided relief material which are grossly inadequate. The House hereby resolved condemn the senseless incessant killings and adoption of Nigerians, pray for the repose of the soul of all military personnel and other victims who lost their lives in the hands of these bloodthirsty gunmen, and condole the bereaved families. Urge all security agencies to take necessary measures to ensure early and safe returns of the adoptees. Urge the federal government, as a matter of urgency, increase its recruitment and training capacity for military men and police to close the gap between the available and the required manpower. Urge the federal government to increase the presence of security agents within the constituency. And lastly, urge the National Emergency Management Agency to urgently provide relief material to the displaced persons.
the souls of the departed. Rest in peace.
At the early hour of 2 a.m., armed bandits entered Bethel Baptist High School in Damishi town in the Kujama district of Chikun local government, where they made away with about 140 pupils, students who were in their dormitories. And fortunately for 28 number of students, they escaped from the hands of the adoptees. But as we speak, we still have 125 in the hands of their adopters. Now, it's very sad that this is not the first time institutions like schools have been attacked in my constituency. If you remember, the Greenfield University is still under my constituency, where 16 students, 23 students were kidnapped. And at the end of the day, in their press and desperation to get ransom payment, which was over 300 million, which they demanded. And of course, there was no way the parents of those students could raise that money. So to show how serious they were, they killed 5 of the students. I visited some of the families, and they told me their frustration and their trauma. At that time, the remaining were still in the hands of their adopters. And at the end of the day, the parent had to rally down to get money and pay for these students to be released. As I speak to you, the school has been closed. There's no more academic activities going on there. That happened in April. Now, this one that happened just yesterday is just one of the numerous incidences. I will tell you that if you look at the way they are happening, they are such in sequence that it's almost every day. In Iri, that's on 3rd of this very month, a village called Iri in Kajuru local government, 16 people were adopted, 3 were killed. As I speak to you, these people are still in the hands of their adopters. And what they are asking of is 100 million. As I speak to you, April 23rd, I have my paper. 2 nurses were adopted who were on duty in Idon General Hospital. I have visited the family. And from their conversation with the adopters, they told them that they've gotten staff. They are never going to release those nurses. That those nurses will be working for them to treat their wounded members who are wounded in the battle with the military or with the security agencies. So the hope of them coming back, I don't know what magic can take place. But I will tell you, my constituency is overwhelmed. On an sad note, let me also say 2 security personnel were killed yesterday who wanted to prevent the kidnapping in the Bethel Baptist High School. So 2 of them were killed. But authoritatively, I can tell you the number of security men that went there were just around 10, while the bandits were numbering even in hundreds. Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you again, in Kakao, just 10 days ago, they went to Angwama Adaki, they kidnapped nearly 18 people, and they demanded for 200 million from that community, Angwama Adaki. 200 million. The chief called me, and he asked me if I could assist them. Now, gentlemen, I was taken aback because I didn't even know where to start from. Where do I raise 200 million to help? So we started negotiation because the best thing to do is to negotiate. So they negotiated, and they said they must bring up to 150 million. And the man who was negotiating with them told them that the community does not have that money. Now, in their desperation, the next day they said, okay, they want to teach him an example. They told them where they will go and pick the corpse of some of the adoptees. 5 of them, they killed them and dropped them at a particular area. I have the pictures I can show. They were killed. I'm very, very emotional. Because I ask myself, what is the joy of being elected when I cannot prevent the killing of my people? When the government is overwhelmed? If I tell you what happened, the trauma I received yesterday morning when this thing happened, a woman just called me. I didn't even know her number. And let me say, ordinarily, sometimes I may not even pick a number I don't know. But I just said, this call has been consistent. Let me see, let me know who. The moment I picked the call, the voice of that woman was, is that how you people are going to allow us to be killed? Our children will be adopted? Is that what you are in government to do for us? That her child was one of the children that was taken from Bethel Baptist School. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are in my shoes, what will you tell them? What will you tell them? Times without number, if some of you can remember, and I don't intend to massage anybody's ego. Honestly, the government has failed in terms of providing security for my constituent. I'll speak particularly for my constituent. If there's anything said we are doing our best, I would say their best is not good enough for us. Their best is a failure. Their best, which they term as best they can give Nigerians, is a failure. And let's say it. How long shall we continue this way? Are we going to continue to live like this? As I speak to you today, to prevent this thing happening, Kaduna State government has closed down 13 schools. Very soon, children are going to write WAEC. And they don't have lectures. They are going to sit at home to write. Are we thinking of the future of these children? Now, if you look at their own case, it's even better because they are talking of writing exams. How about those children that have been adopted? Will they think of exams? They are thinking of their safety. And every leader of concern should think of their safety. How are they feeding there? The trauma they will go through. I'm very sure some of them may not come back sane again. They may not be the same people. Ladies and gentlemen, for me, and I'll say it, the military is overwhelmed. The federal government is overwhelmed. And my greatest call, that even the greatest of nations seek for assistance. Even America, depending on what they want, they seek for assistance. Why can't we, in this country, call a spade, and said we are overwhelmed? Let nations that are willing come to help us. Why? Is it because we are hiding something? Yes. If we are not hiding something, why can't we call developed nations that are willing to join hands? China does a lot of business with Nigeria. Interest. Why not for protection of property and safety of Nigerians? Are they interested in only building rails, which is a profit venture? What are they giving back to the nation? What are they giving back to the nation? So for me, except we are hiding something, that we don't want developed nations to come. I remember, gentlemen, there was an American citizen that was kidnapped. American, I don't know how they did it. He was, I mean, how would they call it? Why would I call it? The Americans sent what they did, and they rescued him from the hands of adopters, one American citizen. When the life of one Nigerian matters to us? When? Is it when we are all killed? For me, if there are moles in the military and they cannot be exposed, it means that the moles are stronger than the government. That's an evidence of failure of state. Do we want to be like Mexico, where drug cartel, kill at random, at will? Today, if I tell you that place that these students were kidnapped, from Kalapanzi Barrack in Kaduna State, it's 10 minutes drive. 10 minutes drive. If you adopt 120 students walking on foot how long will they go in 10 minutes that they cannot be rescued? I am not a military expert, but if you are called a general in the military, it is assumed that all tactics of conventional warfare and unconventional warfare, you should be an authority. Has the military run out of ideas? Because I asked, they will tell you they know where these children or all these kidnapped people are taken to. Now, they will say if they attack, there will be collateral damages. So attacking that place is the only solution they have on the table. So we don't have a solution. For me, the military, the police have failed us. Our fate is now in the hands of God. I want you gentlemen, please, to ask these very important questions. How long shall we continue before we get a solution to the adoption of our children? Is it until 2 million or 200,000 schools are attacked? Is not one too many that we should see tangible results? The children of Greenfield University spend nearly 8 weeks in the hands of their adopters. Today, we are talking of Bethel Baptist High School. Only God knows how long they will remain. And even that of the Greenfield University, the parents paid ransom. You saw it on telly. I saw it on channel. They said they paid. I'm not an advocate of paying kidnappers because it will embolden them more. They'll buy more weapons. But I think that's why we have a military. There must be strategies that we can cope these insistent killings and adoption. Ladies and gentlemen, I will stop on this note, but there are a lot of questions to be asked. And the press is the best vanguard to ask questions. When will this end? I remember with sadness, the children of Kagara in Niger State are still with their adopters, the Islamic school in Kagara. They're still with their adopters. Children as young as 7, 8 years. And we come here and pretend all is well? Do we really have a country? Do we have a government that will protect us? Ask any member here, when we want to go to the northern part, as long as we are passing through Abuja-Kaduna Road, we are scared. Some of us go with convoy of security. So the poor man should die. Because the poor man cannot afford the security. He has to go through public transport. As I speak to you now, this morning as I was in the chamber, authoritatively, they attacked members of my constituency in Kujama, that same area where Bethel Baptist High School students were adopted. They killed 3 people. Yes, near Nigerian prison school in Kujama, prison farms in Kujama. This morning, please, let me ask this question. If any of you have passed through Abuja-Kaduna Road, how many stops, military stops do you see? I can't remember seeing any. Yes, I can't remember seeing any. And I want to ask this question. Let's be very sincere to our conscience. When Kaduna Airport was closed, and VIPs were afraid from Kaduna to Abuja or from Abuja to Kaduna, where were there not attacks? Because VIPs were on the road. Why? Why were there no attacks? Do you remember any attack? That the VIPs were conveyed from Kaduna to Abuja? It never happened. Members of the press, please help us. We need answers. Nigerians want answers. And the government has a responsibility to answer us. Because this is democracy. Including myself. Nigerians deserve answers from us. If we have failed, we should be able to say it. There's nothing like it is a shame to say I failed. I failed, you look for help. The moment you don't want to accept that you failed, then you are not going to look for help. Then Nigerians will be the one to suffer for it. Gentlemen, I will just pray. My prayers for you, please, I want you to help me. Pray for these children, for their safe return. Because I'm not seeing light at the end of the tunnel. I pray they will all return intact. Thank you very much. By then was to use gas. I think the next day or 2 days later, we saw the bandits with gas masks. Now, who told them? Like me, when they were going to do the attack, as a civilian, nobody is going to tell me, yes, I'm not worthy because I could be a mole. But nobody told me. But 2 days later, the bandits were seen with gas masks. So can we say they are not moles in the military? Now, for me, like I always say, leadership is your ability to see the good, the bad, and the ugly, even in your organization. If we have an organization of nearly 20,000 people, you can't tell me that they will be all good. There must be moles. And what is leadership? It's your ability to have the intellect to choose and fish out moles among them. If the military cannot fish out the moles among them, then I'm sorry, I think there will be no end to this. And I strongly believe there are moles among them. Let me even throw this question back. How many bandits have been arrested and you heard the government saying we recovered 10 million? Please, I want to know if there is any, because I've never heard. So when the bandits collect the money, do they eat the money? Or they buried it in their grave? So where is the money going to? They are connivance. There are people in the town who they take the money to. The collaborators are in town. And they use this money to buy properties. Go check today. I don't want, but just find out. Most of the properties today in Abuja, who are buying them? I think it's something that investigative journalism should find out. Who are the owners of the good houses that are being bought today all over the town? Choice houses. Where did they get the money? If they are doing business, can they declare their tax clearance payment of the business they are doing? I think we should go that way. We'll even get some people. I open myself. I can be investigation. Anything I have, come and find out. I'll show you how I get the money. Yes, I challenge anybody. Anybody. That any access you know is mine. I will own up to it and I'll tell you how I got it. So, the simple question, why has Nigerian government or the military ever disclosed that they got 100 million in the custody of the kidnapped people that were arrested? Why? Where is the money? Do they collect the money and burn it? Come on, let's ask ourselves questions that are realistic. Anyway, it's food for thought. Anyway, we talk about, you are talking of Sheikh Gumi, who was saying, let me mention the name because I don't fear anything. Sheikh Gumi is of the view that government should negotiate with bandits. For me, yes, negotiation is good, but what will be the outcome of the negotiation? Is it payment of ransom? If that be the case, for me, it's no. But the government, I want to believe, has the manpower, has the resources to subdue these bandits. Why are we not deploying all these resources into that? Because a bandit is like a blackmailer. He will always come back. If you give him money today, let me give an instance. Some of my constituents were kidnapped. They paid money. After paying sum of nearly 400,000, the person, they released him. Then the kidnapper told another gang of kidnappers that they should rearrest him. They should re-kidnap him. So when they dropped him, where they asked his own people to come and pick him, the other group came out and kidnapped him again. And when they asked them, the other group said, we are not the one now. It's another group. So how do you end it? Because they are in camp. Whether they are talking with themselves or not, I know they have a meeting point. So if you say you will be paying ransom, for me, I'm not for payment of ransom. But the government can subdue them. I strongly believe that. If the government cannot subdue them, then we are hopeless. Yes, we are hopeless. Then we should defend ourselves. I heard the governor of Katsina said, why will you just stay in your room? Then they'll come and attack you. The question I want to throw back to the governor is, what equipment, which training have you given that person who you are asking to defend himself? Okay, I will defend myself with a pistol. Pistol, the one they used to pounded yam. I don't mean pistol with bullets. You know pistol now? Of course now. What will you, somebody who has a gun, are you going to use a knife? If that is the meaning of self-defense, so, gentlemen, let's defend ourselves with our knives. And God will help us. That's just the truth. So, I am not into issue of negotiating with bandits because you are emboldening them. You are making them feel important. That even the government is afraid of them. Why would somebody say, oh, you kill my fellow brothers, and you said government should negotiate with you and empower you? Oh, then me, you kill my person. How do you want me to have confidence in the government? For me, I am with my governor of saying he wouldn't pay ransom. But like I said, maybe it was not necessary for him to say it. Because as Hausa na Magana, I will put it, there is not everything that stomach knows that the mouth used to speak. But I think I've been the chicken to send in a baki kipatawa. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. Now, the issue of use of gun, as you asked, for me, I think the time has come. We should legalize gun. So that if you know I have gun, you are coming to attack me. All I need to do is just have a small training over you. You have AK-47, I have AK-47. If I have better training than you, I will kill you. Simple. Yes, I Honorable Yakubu Barde, I am calling. They should unban gun. Let all Nigerians have gun. Yes, like phone. But again, before that, let's be very careful also. The necessary machineries that should be put in place to make sure that if anybody commit that crime with a gun, let justice catch up with him. Now, today, if you legalize that, anybody who doesn't like you or you have the same girlfriend will just come and kill you. That's the truth now. They will just come and kill you. Or one girl will kill another girl because they have the same boyfriend. That's the truth. And do we have the wherewithal to capture criminals like that? Do we have a database of Nigerians that fingerprints can be used to track down offenders? Do we have that? We don't have. But anyway, for me, it is even better that way than to be killed in the hands of the bandit. Thank you very much.